Hello everyone. My name is Illia Komsa. I'm from Wargaming Belarus, and I will be speaking about browser games. Let's get it clear from the beginning. I won't be speaking about Flash games because, as you all may know, Flash is dead. And also I won't be speaking about Unity-based games because, in my own opinion, if you even can play Tetris multiplayer online on a PlayStation, it doesn't really become a console game. It's still a port of a classical old game. The same are my thoughts about Unity games. They are not really browser games, even though they can actually run in a browser. So I will be speaking about games developed with help of HTML5 and JavaScript, the godfather of current web development. So if I ask you to remember some browser games, what will it be? Probably it will be something like 2048, or maybe Agar.io that I spent, I don't know, maybe 100 hours playing, or maybe some never-ending classics like Treven. And you know, I don't really like it. I mean, not the game. The thing that browser games are strongly associated with something with either simplified graphics or quite narrow gameplay. I am a huge fan of web technologies, and I want browser games to feel great, to look great, to be fantastic, to bring new user experience to players, the experience that they cannot receive anywhere else. And I'm pretty sure that the time to do this is just now. Because browser technologies made a huge, really huge leap forward last years. We can make games like this. We can have great 3D. We have great audio. We can use GPS in our games. You have ability to add game part support or control your browser game with your device orientation. And even the latest trend, VR, already came to browsers. There is already an API developed and it's already supported in, for example, Firefox. And as I know, Chrome and other browsers will bring it quite soon as well. And we can do almost everything that is available on desktop and mobile standalone games. And the support of modern features around browsers and platforms and different platforms is as great as never before. HTML5 nowadays is actually the most cross-platform technology you can find. It's supported on Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, Android Wear. You can make a browser game on PlayStation, Xbox. You can make games for smart TVs, for Nintendo Wii U. And actually even Samsung's smart refrigerator has a built-in browser, and so it can be used to play browser games. Actually, the only popular gaming platform that doesn't currently support browser gaming is Nintendo Switch. Because its integrated browser exists and it's quite good, but for some reason developers didn't give access to it for simple users. But I think it will change quite soon. You all might say that, come on, no one plays browser games. No one needs them, the market is small, and yes, it's something like true. In 2017, browser games generated around 4% of worldwide gaming market size, or nearly 15% of desktop gaming. 15% is not really small, but still not the biggest part. But if you look at the previous slide carefully and listen to my words, you will understand that I am speaking only about desktop browser games. And the time has changed. We don't have the limit of desktop games anymore. This means that if we extrapolate this desktop data, and we cannot actually do this, but we can at least try. This means that there is a potential for browser games to gain 15% of console market and 15% of mobile market. This is a possibility. And what I want to tell you is that there is an open door to a huge and almost empty field. It's waiting for you to come there and waiting for you to make a first step and try to make something new there. There are also a lot of things that are quite unique for web gaming experience and web technologies, or at least much easier to implement than for standalone games. For example, analytic platforms like Google Analytics or tons of others can provide such an enormous amount of data to a small team of developers that it will probably never be able to receive by themselves. A/B testing with hundreds of web testing frameworks can be done very easily on any aspect of your game. And the game can actually adjust to the device and the platform that the player came from. Some time ago, developers needed to prepare a special version for iPhone and a separated version for a tablet in a game. Now you can do this together, but with browser games, with HTML5, it goes even simpler. You can make one client for all the platforms simultaneously. You can, and even with this, you can separate platforms. You can download for different platforms different assets, assets of different sizes. You can download the logic of the exact platform that you are playing, that the player is using. For example, there is a site called playboxy.com. It automatically detects the platform that a user came from. For example, it's like a PlayStation in a slide. And it offers you just a selection of games that have great support of exact platform. These games are quite simple, but it may be taken further. So the controls are specified exactly for PlayStation, the screen resolution, everything you want. And you still can quite easily port your old already developed games to the browser experience. For example, there is a full browser-based version of legendary Quake 3 Arena running in a browser, running smoothly, running perfectly. You can play it online at quakejs.com, and I think that's great. It means that such a fast-paced game, even though it's really old, I know, with quite simple graphic, but a game, such a demanding game on performance and good FPS is running in a browser. Also, with modern web technologies, a player can get into your game even before the game is actually downloaded. For me, it's always a problem. I start downloading the game, it's 400 megabytes, and I just go away. I just turn off my phone and continue doing my other stuff. And with browsers, you can, for example, serve at first some low polygonal simplified 3D models with small simplified textures. The player will start playing with them, and then the game will continue downloading and showing them to the player. There is a demo of this technique. This exact demo is not really made in a browser, but I think it's a really good show in showing you this idea. So it's still a simplified model, and you can see like the textures are changing to a more detailed ones. And in my opinion, as a gamer, if I can start playing 10 minutes earlier, even with simplified graphics, even with something missing, it's still good. And browsers can really help us to do this quite easily, because it's a very common practice in web development. And that's not all. Even the game logic, the game code can be updated and changed in real time. And the player doesn't need to reload the game to start or stop and then start again his player experience. So you as a developer can make, for example, absolutely seamless updates. You have a new version of your game and it just seamlessly changes to the next version. At all, browsers and HTML5 can give us an enormous number of new opportunities and new ideas. You just need to take them and start using in your projects. Now, as another example, I would like to show you a small prototype, technical prototype of our Wargaming's browser game. It's a technical prototype, and still the game in a browser can look like this. It can support high quality graphics and still a very smooth multiplayer. This shows a little part of gameplay from our users testing. And I know it's not really AAA new generation game like newest Doom. But still, this game shows you that you have much more possibilities to develop not just casual games like Farmville, but something greater, something cooler. And some breaking news. Some latest news around browser games. 4 months ago, Facebook opened a service for HTML5 games in their messenger. It's called Instant Games, and so it's for browser gaming. Also, Facebook, with its new platform Game Room, supports browser-based games as well. VKontakte, a social network from CIS, launched Direct Games, also a platform for HTML5 gaming. Telegram chat company created a gaming platform for browser games a year ago. Yahoo Japan published their new service, Yahoo Game Plus, and it's also for streaming games and for browser-based games. And even the sponsor of this conference, Bandai Namco, made a partnership with another company to create HTML5 free-to-play games based on Namco's titles, such as, for example, Dragon Ball. I think you know it. You see, lots and lots of major companies start to invest in browser-based gaming. And my own experience tells me that when even Mark Zuckerberg makes a bet on such technology, you should really think about using this in your own business. So please tell me, why are you still sitting here and listening to a guy in stupid red trousers when you can go to your laptop and start developing a new generation of browser games of the future? That's all. So, maybe any questions? Not really. Yes? Let's listen to it.
What, in your opinion, is the easiest way to start developing the games?
There are several very popular frameworks that are like already a standard. There is, for example, for 3D games, there is a framework called 3GS. It's a very cool system for 3D in a browser. There are several physical engines for 2D games, and actually Actually, we can speak about it a bit later. And there are some publishers, like, for example, Congregate. That is a huge publishing site for browser-based games. And still, you can publish your game on Steam if you pack it. There are lots of books, there are lots of information online, and it doesn't really differ in means of development from other games. It's just a bit other language and another subset of technologies. So there is no thing like starting developing browser games. It's just the same as starting developing any other game, in my opinion. So that's all. Thank you very much.